Goomba. Your kingdom is everywhere the sun touches. Really, Father? Wow. That's not much because this is, Alaska in the winter. Alright, let me pop out this chat and say hello to all you beautiful people arriving. You rock, you rock. I love you, I love you. I love your voice, I love your voice. Hello, hello. I've locked myself out of the house and now I gotta wait for my roommate to come home. Damn. That's always awkward, but thank God the roommate exists, I guess. I get here at the start of the stream. Well, welcome, Hannah. Perfect timing. Perfect timing to everyone. Good to see you. Did I hear about Technoblade? You know, I did see somebody, like, I don't know who Technoblade was, but I saw somebody, like a trending tweet that just said, fuck cancer. And I was like, what's this all about? Did they get cancer? And you click it and they were like, said something about a person named Technoblade having cancer or dying of cancer. And I was like, ah, shit. But I didn't take the time to look up who Technoblade is. But either way, yeah, fuck cancer. And I don't know. Sorry to hear that. David De La Rosa with the 5 says, hi, Joel. You just made this 35-year-old birthday boy very happy. Thank you. You are the man, Joe. Thanks, David. Happy birthday to you. Everybody say happy birthday, David. I'd say I'm more unique looking than beautiful. I'm a trash bag, but I'm a golden trash bag. Hey, who says that? Who be talking that? Talking that schmack. Just watched his last video and cried. It's pretty sad. Let's see. I've never... Technoblade. He's a Minecraft guy. So long, nerds. How old is he? Wow. He's quite large fella as far as size of YouTube goes. I assume his so long video is referring to cancer. I'm very sorry to hear that. First time you didn't get the notification, bless Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's got your back. Follow me on there at Let's Read Creepy. Operator 4307, welcome back for 4 months in the Buttersock cult. Hi Joe, I'm here again. I remember tonight. And hell, happy birthday, David. Schmappy dappy birthday. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about his dad spoke about him in it, and his dad spoke about him in it and just broke me. I feel so sorry for his fam. Yeah, how bad is it like something that he might be able to go into remission for, or is this just like one of those pancreatic cancers where you get it and like you don't recognize it till like stage 4 and then it's just like damn. What's up, Prowler? How was my day? My day was good. Honestly, since I hurt my wrist, I kind of took a break from the gym, but actually wrist feels much better today. It was during the last stream that made me kind of feel kind of iffy, but it actually feels very... Oh, he actually passed away. Holy shit. Wow. So he was just doing... What the fuck? He was just doing YouTube and then just didn't tell anybody that he had cancer? Or was this something that everybody, like, knew, or... You like the way this live stream is? The others do it differently. Yeah, what do other live streams do? Give me ideas. Did you hurt your wrist jizzerking off too intensely? Pretty much, yeah. Just gripped it too tight. Started twisting like a motorcycle. Snap my fucking ulna. Ulnar. I don't even know. He's had cancer for about a year now. Damn. That's so weird. It's just weird how it can just kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, I don't know the specifics, and I apologize for commenting when I don't know the specifics, but it's just crazy to think, like, you know, it could just come for anyone at any time, you know. I'm sure if he was doing Minecraft stuff, he was probably at least in his pretty young guy in his 20s or something like that. I mentioned the jerk off question. You got balls to say that? Why do I got balls? I got dick and balls to say that. None of a new job. Hopefully I'll be able to watch the stream. Oh yeah, welcome Hannah. He was only 23? Holy shit, dude. Oh, that's fucking crazy. So even though everything goes through Apple Pay on my phone, for some reason, because Google Pay was blocked, it didn't have a join button. Interesting. Oh, so you figured it out, Althea? The song slaps. Yeah, this is, we're back on the sound territory. Liquid drum and bass mix number 139. And this is called Shibumi, 6:29 p.m. featuring George Lunn. Hey, Jacob's here. Sexbots, you have finished the job when you had the chance, because tonight the Sexbot Destroyer, the game is back. Oh shit. And tonight will be the end of the Sexbots. You heard it here first. The game is back. We've been waiting. And the time. The return of the prodigal son. Ellen, with the big $20 Reno donation, says, hey Joel, love your videos. 7-Eleven is creepy as hell. I have so many horror stories from there. Yeah, did you work there, or are you just kind of cruising around the area? Robbing all the local 7-Elevens. But thank you so much, Ellen, for the 20. Seriously, appreciate you. Joel, you still fasting? You sound tired or sad? Just tired. Now, I think sometimes it just takes me a little while to get into it, you know what I mean? Like, when I come into the streams, you know, I'm just, it just takes a little while, you know, to feel the energy, to get in the vibe, to get cruising, because I'm not like a naturally like just wet and wild guy all the time, you know what I mean? But I mean, I am fasting today, yeah, but I ate yesterday. It feels good, you know what I mean? I was kind of like interested. I was like, I wonder after fasting the previous day if like eating that day would cause like a sort of like upward tick of fluctuation in weight back to where it was, but it actually didn't, and surprisingly it actually continued to go down, so that was like really strange. I don't know if like the body has just, I assume it's just calories in, calories out, but it's hard to say. But the nice thing is like whenever I get a little, or I've felt a little bit maybe like lethargic with the fasting, I can just take some like electrolyte powders that are mixed for that kind of stuff. Drink a big glass of that with water it's mixed into, and I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. You live 1 minute away from a 7-Eleven. Well, this could be good or bad. Joel, do you have days when you feel exhausted after a long day and still can't sleep? That's what I experienced last night. You know, I definitely do. Sometimes I feel like I can't sleep unless I get like absolutely just like half to sleep. And I think that's why I'm just like stuck in the night schedule for so long. But I guess working night shift didn't help either for years and years. Can you explain how this fasting stuff works? Yeah, just fasting is they're just not eating while like consuming just pretty much water. I've seen people, they have like coffee and stuff, but it's still, and the goal is just to like allow your body a break from digestion. I mean, fasting goes back probably thousands of years, obviously, and I think is built into our evolution as people to essentially, you know, humans oftentimes go a period of time without food as they find their next hunt, or as they don't have food available, or they do it for religious or just dietary reasons, and there's a lot of benefits to it that you can look up for sure. For me, it just like helps me feel like non-bloated. I'm also doing it as sort of like a degree of like weight cutting as well. You know, and it's not like an, you know, it's not the same thing as like the struggles that some people go through with like anorexia or any eating disorder process, because obviously that's not the goal. Is you're not trying to come at it from like a negative thought process, you know what I mean? Electrolyte powders. My husband is trying to fast and he often feels lethargic. I propose those to him. Yeah, let me bring up the ones I got, because I had them just today for the first time and they were fantastic. So you can probably suggest to him these if, oh yes, here they are. So they are called just the letters, LMNT Keto Electrolyte Powder Packs. They just have, the letters on them, LMNT, and they tasted great, 0 calories. It's got a good mix in there. I don't know. It was just something I saw. I'm sure there's a ton of different, that's not an ad or anything. I'm just saying. You sound dry, Joel. It's a salty, Joel. It's a salty ahoy, Captain Knight. I hope you get water later. I'm a salty cracker. Needing of moisture. He took his chances of cancer and heart disease down from 1% from fasting. Yeah, I'm thinking like as I get older, I'd like to just casually sort of roll from fast to fast, whether it's like 24 hours or do intermittent. You know, just, I don't know. It's just, you feel better when your body's not bloated with food all the fucking time, you know? At least that's how I feel. I'm not trying to push that on anybody else at all. The Venikins with the 2 says, Joel, boop snoots to you and predict Kitte as usual. Thank you, Venikins. He was very playful earlier. I just fed him right now. I usually feed him when I wake up and feed him right before the streams. I'm a saltine. A salsqueen. Fasting is good, but also listen to your body. I've done a liquid diet, not by choice, and a bone chicken broth with turmeric and ginger. Shit's bussin'. That sounds pretty yummy. I remember like for that like 2-week period where I did like just the meat stuff, I was just like, holy fuck, please give me like any sort of like vegetable. But yeah, chicken broth is pretty delicioso. Yeah, where's Maud Hannah? We got a lot of Hannahs in the chat. And Maud Hannah, maybe she's still recovering from her birthday. I don't even know how recent that was. Litrid, are you going to tell us scary stories? I am. In 6 minutes, we will kick this off. That's usually what we do is, you can see the timer on screen. We just kind of BS here for a while YouTube notifies the usual crew. And then we can get cruising. Also a reminder for anybody who's got the green name from members and $5 patrons that new bonus content is up. Well, he ate 10,000 calories one day, then nothing for 3. He tried all of them in the documentary, and the one that worked best was the 25 calorie packs of soup 3 times a day for 3 days. Then did 1,200 calories a day for the rest of the week. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I mean, the human body is quite an interesting... How many stories tonight? Yeah, we got quite a few tonight for 7-Eleven. They are 12 of them tonight, so... Rio Kaya with the 5 says, hi, Joel, 7-Eleven Japan is amazing. You can actually get really good food. It's not creepy. Yeah, I've heard good things about gas stations in Japan. The people that work there actually tuck their shirts in and take their job very seriously. Which I respect, you know what I mean? No matter what you're doing, if you put your heart into it, it's just going to make the world a better place. You like my Floaty Skulls intro the best? Yeah, which one's that? Floaty Skulls. I'm not even sure. Jester, thank you. Good to see you. Live chat. The live chat. It is a girthy, a protruding stream. Slurpee stories probably. Someone's gonna get buried. Oh shit! Oh, that came out. Whoa. Ooh. 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 Susie Dunn with the $31 says, love your channel. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Susie. Came out of nowhere with that little bit of a twerkable amount there. My goodness. Thank you. Appreciate you. And I'm doing great, honestly. You know me, I'm just prepping for the end of the world. You never know when it's gonna come. Went to leave work tonight and there was a manhunt going on. Oh, really? A manhunt? Is it legal to hunt men? The most dangerous game. Joel is my god. My god. No, I am not worth the worship. I guarantee you that. He's standing so he can twerk flopped over. It doesn't make it easier to twerk when you're standing. Sitting would be a little bit weird. You're just kind of like smushing your butt into my piss and poop. You spilled your nerds in your bed? No, that's freaking perfect, because, like, you know, it's just snacks for later on. Find one here, one there. Honestly, I would dump more nerds into your bed just to really even it out. The narrator god. You're prepping, just copped US SIG M400, twerking while I wait. Gotta do it. Gotta get in where you can. You never know when chaos starts. You will be ready. I don't know. Someone made a good point in the concept of like prepping and stuff, is that like, sure, you know, like sure people will have like ammunition and whatever and a bunch of food, but like really at the end of the day, when society collapses, the best kind of places to really try to foster is a sense of community. You know what I mean? Because eventually, if hypothetically, I'm just throwing these ideas out here, but it's like, if hypothetically you end up in a scenario where you have to exist in some sort of feudal, well, not feudal system, but like a barter trade system, like, you know, you're gonna want people that are, I don't know, bakers and butchers and all that kind of stuff, like kindly working together to keep each other alive. Venikins with the 2 says, twerk in honor of the Buttersock cult. Yes. In honor? Oops. I don't even know. This one. I was going to use it like a bell, but it's full of water. I don't even know if you can hear it. Is it really a chat if it doesn't get weird? I don't think so. I know my chat is quite strange. A community of ammunition. These are all my best friends. This guy's name is 9mm. Joel giving you some Doom prep. I don't know. I've just been looking into it more lately, and especially with like this coming harvest. If you know anybody who works in farming, if you know a single person who works in farming, they'll tell you that fertilizer is like 3 to 4 times as much, right? So if your fertilizer is 3 to 4 times as much, it means that like it's not only, your food's not only going to be close to that approximation more, farmers who usually like, you know, sell their stuff are going to be less likely to do so because they're less capable, because a lot of farmers, you know, they are not wealthy individuals, you know, they live paycheck to paycheck like most people, and you know, they're not going to be as apt to going and selling their stuff at market or selling it to a larger group. And, you know, you might not necessarily see these types of like things affect the supply chain or availability of food, you know, this exact season, but over the course of 2023 going into next season, because that's where most of the stuff like grain and sugar beet and all that kind of stuff, like you might not notice it till like 2023, like the sort of shortage of like different things because of the the whole cascade of events that's been leading up to that economically and domestically and, you know, everything. It just starts to compound upon itself. So I think it's wise, even in any sort of scenario, whether it's a hurricane and it knocks out the power or whatever, like being prepared for things is not an abnormal trait for human beings. David with the 2 says, Joel, Nope movie looked very awesome. But yeah, I know, I'm pretty excited for it. It's not out quite yet, right? Because we still got, I think, 22 days before that comes out. But I'm definitely counting down. I am looking forward to it. All right, my friends, we have arrived at the end. Once again, thanks for being here. Click that like button. Click share. Appreciate you being here. We got 12 7-Eleven stories. Once again, this is Liquid Drum and Bass Mix 139 from Sound Territory. The current song playing is JBD, Thick and Thin. But you can hear all of that over the Sound Territory YouTube channel. Mix 139, pretty sick. I'm going to switch over to our ambient spooky jams now. Change it up a bit. Smash that likable button. Thank you so much for each video you do. You're welcome, Mara. Appreciate you. Need a horror movie night. Yeah, I remember one of the more fun streams that I did was whenever they were promoting the Crypt TV channel. If you guys still watch Crypt TV, hopefully you do. They make a lot of good stuff. And I think they even got some exclusive stuff over on Peacock now, but I see Peacock from time to time. I have no idea what it is. It's probably like an NBC thing. But yeah, I remember we watched probably like 3 or 4 of those short movies, and I don't know, that was a lot of fun, just like reacting to it and saying funny shit and watching it with you guys. We watched Minions Rise of Gru with me. I saw a meme where it was like all the boys, they put on their best suit and tie and went to the premiere. You said cock. Did I say cock? Cocked and loaded. Butter chips. I'm drinking Mick too. What? The Saved by the Bell reboot is on Peacock? Interesting. I don't know if I didn't even really like Saved by the Bell back in the day. I don't know if I would jump on the reboot. We'll be reading subscribers' first stories. Yeah, so that usually I'm just kind of mixing those into the Reddit stories now. So hopefully yours gets mixed in there at some point. But I think that will be next next Wednesday at some point. So I guess Tuesday's live stream. Your friendly internet grandma with the 7 Canadian. Thank you, Grandma. Good to see you. Also, Monday's video should be an interesting one. It's going to be creepy videos with backstories. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm just kind of curious like how I should edit it, because a lot of the commentary for it is obviously longer than the video itself. So I'm not sure if I should just like have the video like replaying, but just like I'm trying to think of how to like streamline the editing process, if like the video itself should play, or if it would be normal to then eventually transition over to some type of still frame. You know what I mean? Where then I'm just commenting on the video, where the video should still be playing. I don't know. I'm just wondering to what extent it's an issue or not an issue. Like copyright, but also like keeping people's interest and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a new territory that I'm venturing into, so we'll see what crappens. Oh yeah, 4th of July video. Oh shit, I wonder if everybody will be at, well, I don't know. 4th of July is not on a weekend now, so some people I'm sure will be not really blowing their fingers off as much. Hawk is in the building. Yeah, we're Schick. Schick Daddy. Alright. Let's kick it off. But yeah, Actually, let me make sure my stick is clear. Oh, it was. Whoops. Okay. Fireworker, yeah. Oh yeah, 4th of July, shit. My name is Kenji, and I'm from Japan. And I would just like to say that I love your podcast. I'm still mastering my English, so excuse any errors in my email to you. Now, I would like to also say that listening to your stories helps my English and improve more every single day. And speaking of stories, I have one of my own for you. And although I'm not sure what kind of video you would include this in, I can assure you that it was one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Back in the year 2018, I was still a university student, and to support myself, I worked part-time at a 7-Eleven here in my home of Shiodacho. Carly, welcome back for 7 months in the Buttersock Cult. You still have access to bonus content. Chiodacho. Anybody familiar with Japan? Chiodacho. I'll just say Chiodacho, I don't really know. Back in the year 2018, I was still a university student, and to support myself, I worked part-time at a 7-Eleven here in my home of Chiodacho. Since the new school year hadn't quite started yet, I was still working night shifts, as despite the name, the 7-Eleven here is always open 24 hours. I tried to take advantage of the quiet nights by getting a head start on my studies, but that didn't stop the nights from being incredibly boring. So when I wasn't studying or serving the odd customer who came in, I was cleaning the store down. That's part of my nightly duties anyway, but then it becomes a real benefit during the nighttime shifts, and I can use up at least an hour each time I wipe down all the shelves, fridges, and displays. So one night, I'm cleaning the store when a customer comes in and starts browsing through some of the stock. I rush back behind the counter to serve him, but he told me that there was no rush, and that it might be a while, and that he might be... Base kicker with the 2. Good evening, sire. Good evening to you. You don't know what to eat? Any ideas? I don't know. What should Ash eat? Ritz crackers. I rushed back behind the counter to serve him, but he told me that there was no rush, and he might be a while picking out some cold tea for his co-workers, as he too was working the nighttime shift as a security guard for a nearby apartment building. I thanked him for his thoughtfulness, then went back to what I was doing, which was cleaning down one of the refrigerator windows. I picked up my cloth and spray and began wiping down the fridge again when, suddenly, the entire store begins to gently vibrate. At first, it felt like that there was some kind of very large vehicle passing the store outside, like a tank or something. I know that might sound crazy, but that's what I thought at first. But then when it began to get more... Miss Molly, returning as a member of the Buttersock Cult for 31 whole months, says, Joel, my love, how are you? Hope you're having a good night. Love you. Thank you, Miss Molly. I'm doing fan-frickin-tastic. Just reading what sounds to be an earthquake story in 7-Eleven. Baku? What's a Baku? Sussy Baku? I know that might sound crazy, but that's what I thought at first. But then when I began to get sorry, that's spelled wrong, sorry. I know that might sound crazy, but that's what I thought at first. But then when it began to get more intense and everything on the shelves started to rattle and shake, one single word went through my head. Jishin, which means earthquake. The next thing I remember was turning with the intent of running back to the register to take cover under the counter, but as I turned, I saw the security guard running at me incredibly fast. I didn't know what he was planning on doing, but when he shoved me back to the ground, I found myself overcome with angry surprise, thinking, what did you do that for? Then, before I could even ask him what he was thinking, a pallet of glass bottles came crashing down from above the fridge I was cleaning, which is where we kept all the spares that would act as replacements for the fridge units. I'm not completely sure how heavy one of those are, but I know they're certainly heavy enough to cause some serious and permanent damage if one hit me on the head at those speeds. And it landed right where I'd been standing if the security guard hadn't shoved me out of the way. Suddenly, I wasn't angry anymore, not in the slightest, and all that fury changed into the purest form of gratitude I'd ever experienced in my life. I knew I had to repay it, and we trained to take cover under the reinforced counter in case of an earthquake, since it will protect us from any falling debris. I shouted at the man to follow me to the counter, and we both rushed towards it as best we could, as all kinds of things fell from their shelves while the floor shook violently beneath our feet. We took cover there for a few more minutes. We took cover. What is nutter sock culture? That's really funny. The person in our neighborhood sometimes sits outside cooking street tacos. They're delicious. Damn. That sounds pretty yummy. Let me get one of them tacos made out of the street. We took cover there for the next few minutes, and although it felt like far longer, the store stopped shaking after maybe only 30 to 40 seconds. There's no doubt in my mind how that security guard saved my life, or at least saved me from some serious and irreparable brain injuries. It makes me wonder what would have happened if he hadn't have walked into that store that night. I'd have been all alone when the earthquake hit. There's a good chance that I'd be dead, having joined the list of 40 plus people who died that night when the earthquake. Who wants some earth cake? That's just mud, by the way. There's a good chance that I'd be dead, having joined the list of 40 plus people who died that night when the earthquake struck, or at least not in a fit state to write this email to you. I wasn't a believer in fate or destiny before that night, but now I'm not too sure. Anyway, thanks for reading my blah, 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 blah. Okay. I wasn't a believer in fate or destiny before that night, but now I'm not so sure. Some thick earth cake. It was a 7-Eleven on the Richter scale, yeah. I'm trying to see if I said the Jishin. Okay. Venikins with the twos is earthquakes is when you twerk too hard, yeah. I'm causing an earthquake. A girthquake. A twerk quake. Have you ever had a near-death experience? Is that a threat? No, I'm just kidding. No, I've, not really, I don't think. I know that there was a few times, like one time I was talking about this time I climbed this like one rock face, and I thought that it would be easy to get up there, but then I got to a point where it was like super wet, and I didn't have good grip, and I legitimately thought that I was just gonna slip on like the last part and just like fall to my death. And it was weird because like my friends just didn't even understand as they stood above me like how, I don't know, scary that was. But there was also a time where we left this one Chicago place when I was visiting my friend in Chicago, and there was some scaffolding just sort of like haphazardly above us on like the 4th floor. And then like as we got to the bottom of the stoop of steps, you know, that scaffolding and a bunch of shit just like fucking fell those 4 stories like directly to the top of the steps where you walk out the front door. And I remember, you know, we kind of laughed about it and we're like, holy shit. But I mean, like, in reality, I mean, like, that if we were coming out of there at that time, someone would have been fucked up. Like, someone would have died or been, like, seriously fucked up. Brendan, you died twice in near death a handful of times. Yeah, interesting. What, did you see anything? Or, like, what happened with that? You almost died in a video game once, but you never did. You never lost a single life. I could see that being something for, something you see in the news. Like, this gentleman has never lost a single life in any video game he's ever played. He refuses to play multiplayer games. We have earthquakes in my hometown in Mexico all the time because we have a volcano. Holy shit. When's that volcano due to explode? Chi-town, what part? Oh fuck, where the fuck was it? It wasn't terribly far from O'Hare, the airport. But, you almost died skiing via crashing to the head. Oh yeah, skiing fucking things are super dangerous for some reason. I don't know why. I always hear about people dying while skiing, but like, not as often while snowboarding. I don't really get it. It's so weird hearing you just talk and not narrate, but I love it. It sounds so much like a chill dude. I am pretty chill. Chillaxed, some may say. My little brother said he's seen our grandfather motioning for him to go back. Okay, he's like, you're too early. You're gonna ruin the surprise for Jesus. I code blued after I was born and then found out I have sleep apnea. Oh, okay, interesting. So there was like some sort of airway blockage. Okay, so this was when you were really young, so I guess you wouldn't have any like discernible memories. Joel, you have volunteers to make you happy. What are you talking about? Joel, have you ever had an experience that would make a story on the channel? Just some random shit, I suppose. Nothing, I don't know. Thankfully nothing, you know, too wild. So, this might sound like a pretty dumb story at first, but it was legitimately one of the freakiest things to ever happen to me, and to this day, I've never been able to properly explain it. I used to be the assistant manager at a 7-Eleven here in Austin. Really early morning shifts too sometimes, and this one morning, I'm just walking around the store doing a little stock check while sipping a cup of coffee, one of those disposable ones with a lid and stuff. Suddenly, I think my fingers slipped on it or whatever because it went spilling out of my hand and onto the floor. I sort of jumped back so the hot coffee wouldn't spill onto my shoes. But then, when I looked down, I couldn't see any coffee cup, and there wasn't a drop of spilled coffee on the floor or anything. I didn't immediately think anything weird had happened. I just figured the cup had rolled under a shelf or something, so I got down on my knees to look for it and to see if there was any kind of spillage at all. Nothing. No coffee cup, no spilled coffee, nothing. I stayed down there for a few seconds looking around, thinking it might have rolled this way or that, but I couldn't see it anywhere. I checked all the shelves in the aisle I was standing in, thinking it might have been caught on one, but again, nothing. This was right before I was due to open the store, so it wasn't like I had all the time in the world to look for it. So after rolling up the shutters and unlocking the doors and all that stuff, I went back to looking for the coffee cup. At that stage, I still wasn't freaked out or anything, more like just really confused, and honestly, I just put it down to tiredness from having gotten up so early. After my second attempt looking for it, I still couldn't find it, and that's the point where it started to really bother me. It's actually kind of hard to describe, like an inch that I couldn't, an inch. You choked on cereal? You chalked on cereal? Uh-oh. What kind of cereal? It had to have been Cuckoo Puffs. It's actually kind of hard to describe, like an itch that I couldn't scratch or something. I needed to know where that freaking cup had gone for the sake of my own sanity. I had access to the security cameras, and since it was early enough for no one to be in the store, I figured that I'd just go back and watch the cameras to see where the coffee cup went when I dropped it. Lo and behold, it did hit the floor, and it did roll under one of the shelves, so I made a careful note of which one, then walked back. Lo and behold, it did hit the floor, and it did roll under one of the shelves, so I made a careful note of which one, then walked back to see if it was there. But as I was doing that, I had this weird panicky feeling, because I knew I'd already checked under that particular shelf and there was nothing under it. I checked again, but Captain Crunch used to be more peanut buttery. Yeah, I know, it's bullshit. Can you have some of my skin? Like which part? I probably need most of it. I checked again, but with this weird feeling of uselessness, knowing that there was nothing there, and again, there wasn't. That's when I started to get this sick feeling, not knowing if it was like my mind playing tricks on me, or if something else was going on, something that I couldn't possibly explain with any rational logic. It was at that point that I walked over to the coffee machine, grabbed another cup, then walked to the same shelf the first coffee cup had rolled under. Then I kneeled down and threw the coffee cup under the shelf just to see what would happen. In an instant, I could hear that it slid all the way under the shelf to the aisle on the other side, and I didn't need to look to know where it was. Oh shit, Welks, what's up, bro? With the 5, thank you. It says free Slurpees in 11 days. Hashtag pumped. Well, this is perfect timing then. I had no idea. I don't even think I have a 7-Eleven around here, to be honest with you. I've seen them. I do really enjoy those places called Come and Go. I don't have them around here, but I see them and they make me laugh. Because it's spelled like come with a K. What's the free Slurpees about? Probably something to do with Slurpees being not any money. I'm surprised they still do free Slurpees in this economy, am I right, guys? We stream on Sunday. You know, I think I might just. What's even going on? I don't really know. This story is kind of weird. It's like semi-paranormal, but I feel like he's gonna look and be like, oh shit, my coffee cup that I threw is literally just right there. In an instant, I could hear that it slid all the way under the shelf to the aisle on the other side, and I didn't need to look to know it was there. But in frustration, I kneeled down again and checked everywhere for any sign of that first coffee cup. And when I couldn't see anything, I came up in frustration and cursed out loud. Immediately, I'm greeted by the sight of my first customer of the day, looking at me like I was absolutely insane. It didn't help the fact that I felt like I was absolutely losing my mind. In fact, it made me feel even worse, and after I got him his pack of cigarettes and his lottery ticket, and he walked out of the store, I honestly felt like I was about to burst into tears. I never felt that kind of feeling before, and I never felt anything like it since, like the whole memory of me dropping the coffee cup was just a complete fabrication, or that I'd never even had that coffee in my hand to begin with. But then the security cameras clearly captured me dropping it, and the footage was high definition enough to be able to see where it rolled, so that part was very real. But then the big question of the whole morning remained. Where did my first coffee cup go? I'd like to be able to say that I just let the whole thing go. I mean, it was basically inconsequential, but I ended up obsessing over the whole thing for months, going down internet rabbit holes regarding microscopic black holes, temporal faults, all kinds of physical anomalies that remained what was referred to as fringe science. I asked a ton of questions on the likes of Quora and Reddit regarding what could have happened to my coffee cup, and believe me when I say I had to dredge through a ton of nonsense just to get to anything that even attempted to explain it using logic and reason. It actually got to the point where it was seriously affecting my mental well-being in a really serious way too. I wish I could say I only lost sleep over it too, but in reality, I was losing sleep, I wasn't eating right, my relationships were beginning to be strained. That one little incident with a coffee cup almost ruined my entire life. I still don't know where it went, but I learned to just let it go, and although where it went might be explained by scientists someday, by actual physicists who know what they're talking about, I'm okay with not knowing until then. Welks, welcome back for 28 months in the Buttersock call. It says early July, it's free Slurpees because of 7-11 being the date. Let's go, dude. Heck yeah. I'm glad that they do something on 7-11. Also, Welks, I know it's been a while, but if you didn't know, there is bonus content for members both on here and $5 tier on Patreon. So there's a playlist called like members only bonus content, and if you would like to check that out in your spare time, or if you already have, maybe you were just lurking, I just feel like I hadn't seen you in a while, so please do peep it, because there's some good shit on there. Hi, Joel, John speaking here. Haven't been having a good day so far, feeling down in the dumps. Came here to help me sleep as always. Well, welcome back, John. Hopefully you can get some shut-eye. Some shit-eye. Yeah, the back room's coffee. That's probably where it's at. Well, okay, an earthquake and a coffee story. That's exciting. A live stream on July 10th. Let's see what's going on July 10th. That is a Sunday, so probably a very likely scenario. Oh, you did? You did? Okay, cool. You saw the SCP one. Nice, yeah. Well, I appreciate that. They might give free gas at 7-Eleven. I wish. If only we could be so fortunate. It's so stupid. I saw gas went down a little bit, but only went down like 10 cents. It's like, oh, thanks so much. Can't wait for it to get up to fucking 8, and then 10, and then... I don't know. I used to work at a 7-Eleven here in the United States, and the scariest thing that ever happened to me was What happened to me there? I used to work at a 7-Eleven here in the United States, and the scariest thing that ever happened to me there was also the single most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me in my life. It happened on a particularly quiet night, and I was still kind of hungover from going out drinking the night before, so I wasn't even paying attention when the guy walked into the store. I heard the door sliding open, I heard his footsteps as he walked up to the counter, and then right when I was about to lift my head up to ask him what he wanted, he just slammed something down on the counter in front of me. I remember the first thing being the red splatter on my t-shirt. It was plain white, and the moment his hand impacted on the counter, all these little red specks appeared on my shirt. I already recoiled from the shock of having his slam down in front. Oops, his slam. His big slam piece. They gave gas away near my house for a little over $2 a few hours, but the lines were insane. Interesting. Wait, the gas tax in California is going up? I thought they were doing a holiday. $4.50 in South Texas. That would be nice. Here it's like it's $5 here. $4.35 in Georgia. I guess you're probably all closer to the production zones or whatever. But still, fucking Christ on was it not even like a fucking 2 years ago we were like, wasn't it like $1.99? And then fucking we were like a net exporter of crude oil and shit. It's just like, what the fuck? I already recoiled from the shock of having his hand slammed down in front of me. But when I saw what he just slammed down next to the register, I recoiled even further. It was a tongue. An actual tongue. Even though it was soaked in blood, I could recognize the deep ridge running down the middle of it. It sounds like such a cliche when I think about it now, but I now know what people mean when they say that they were frozen in fear. The whole thing was an assault on my senses, and I think it just short-circuited my fight-or-flight mechanism to the point where I just didn't know what to do. Then the look in the guy's... Then the look in the guy's... Okay. Then the look in the guy's eyes as he stared at me. So calm, but intense, with eyes so wide and unblinking that it was like he didn't have eyelids at all. It was only when he spoke that I actually found the will to move, and all he said to me was, "Call 911." I bolted into the back office, locked the door behind me, and immediately called the cops. All the while, I watched the guy on the cameras just standing there at the register. He didn't move. Whoops. He didn't move at all. He just seemed to be looking down and staring at the mess he'd left on the counter. And given the gruesome nature of my emergency, there was a police patrol car and 2 cops pulling up outside in just a matter of minutes. The guy didn't put up any kind of fight when they moved to arrest him. He just held his wrists, allowed them to put the handcuffs on him, then let the cops take him away. Once he was safely out of the store, I walked out of the office, trying not to look at what was on the counter, then told the cops everything I knew. It obviously wasn't all that much, but as I was talking to them, I noticed a few more police surrounding a car in the parking lot that still had the doors. Oh, God, my voice is already cracking. Once he was safely out of the store, I walked out of the office, trying not to look at what was on the counter, then told the cops everything I knew. It obviously wasn't all that much, but as I was talking to them, I noticed a few more police surrounding a car in the parking lot that still had the door open. I called the store manager from the McDonald's across the street, telling him that the cops had to close the store because it was an active crime scene. They rushed down to see what was going on, even though it was their day off, and after telling them what had happened, I went home to decompress. From what I heard later, the guy had gotten into an argument with his wife while out driving somewhere. Then at some point, he'd snapped, pulled up into a parking lot, stabbed her to death, then cut her tongue out. Then, for some reason, he picked our 7-Eleven to walk into to slam the tongue he cut off. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know much about Teslas, to be honest. Like, how long does it take to charge your vehicle and how much does that cost? And then I assume it's like a hybrid, so you have like a gas tank full of stuff so you know like when to sort of prepare the other aspect or something like that. Or I guess like, does the gas itself charge your Tesla? And the fact that the motor's running and like charging as you go or something? Cut at his tongue. Then, for some reason, he picked our 7-Eleven to walk into to slam the tongue he'd cut out of her mouth down onto... Sorry, that's like a tongue twister. Sorry. Our Tesla all electric. I think there's like hybrids or whatever. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to be completely electric because what if you get screwed, you know what I mean? And you don't have any alternative fuel source to get where you need to go. Then, for some reason, he picked our 7-Eleven to walk into to slam the tongue he'd cut out of her mouth down onto the countertop. I was allowed to take a little bit of time off of work after the whole thing, as I just couldn't face going back there so soon. Even when I did go back, I was on edge the whole time for my first couple of shifts, and I just couldn't... Even when I did go back, I was on edge the whole time for my first couple of shifts, and I just couldn't seem to shake the image of that bloody tongue just lying on the countertop right in front of me. The thing I just can't seem to shake is that it wasn't enough for the guy to actually stab and kill his own wife. He had to reach into her mouth afterwards and cut her tongue out. How completely insane with fury does a person have to be to do that? Like, what could possibly possess someone to do something so horrifying to their own spouse? The guy didn't look like a monster either. He didn't look evil or deranged. All that gave his mental state away. All that gave his mental state away was... Wait, sorry, I'm reading that wrong. All that gave his mental state away was that crazy look in his eyes, the one that had me frozen in fear. It just haunts me that seemingly normal people are capable of things like that. Hellos. Yeah, time off. Yeah, I would have quit there too. Never to return. Sheets is $3.99 for unleaded 88. Well, I mean, it depends on what Sheets you go to. I think there's like 1 trillion in Pennsylvania and other states. In those middle of nowhere places that have a Eat at Joe's Cafe and 2 gas pumps, will they put a charge port in? I don't know. I remember like right around the sort of towards the end of COVID, there was like, I started seeing them like installed in like almost every fucking thing. So I didn't know if like those like larger gas station corporations got some sort of subsidies from the government to install those or something. You know what I mean? But I did start seeing a bunch of Teslas around town more often after that. It was just like really random. It was like a bunch of people just got them out of nowhere. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, but all at the same time, you know what I mean? Unless they got them from their job or whatever, I don't even know. Grandma with a 7 Canadian says, nothing like a human tongue to really help work up an appetite. Yeah, I did hear, well, not specifically human tongue, but I know animal tongue, like a lot of people eat cow tongue, and I heard it's a delicacy, you know, at county fairs and such. Better question is, what did she say to get... Yeah, right, yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, probably said something about Will Smith's wife. Very rude, very, very rude. You just made the perfect grilled cheese, hell yeah. You've had thousands of hours of experience leading up to this specific grilled cheese sandwich. The day has finally come. You forgot to hit the like button? Oh my god, you gotta do it. You gotta click it. It must be smashed. At all cost. Cow tongue is pretty tasty. I never tried it before. It's really interesting, like... I don't know. I guess it's just like so weird, like how in the sort of development of like human evolution, because they always say like, you know, our ancestors, the reason their brains started to develop more was because they ate a lot of meat or something, or incorporated meat into their diet as well. I don't know if that's fucking true. Who the fuck knows? But at the same time, you would assume that they probably didn't know. They probably had to eat it raw, right? And didn't cook it or whatever. But I'm just kind of like wondering to myself, like how did we figure out as humans the need to cook meat or put it over fire to like kill the bacteria and all that kind of shit? Like, where was the transition between like being a crazy little monkey in a tree eating like brains to being like, yeah, maybe I should cook this steak medium rare? I just feel like we missed. That's why, like, more and more when I think about like humanity, I'm just like, maybe the whole like 2001 Space Odyssey type like narrative makes more sense to me. Like some sort of external influence like pushed the development of humans to like the next level. Yeah, if early humans ate meat raw, yeah, where was the transition and the necessity to cook it? You know what I mean? And how did they figure that out? And you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like so random. Maybe they just thought cooking it smelled good. Yeah, maybe it fell into the fire one time and they're like, oh shit, We should try this. Joel, you're still a little crazy monkey in a tree, but our crazy little monkey in a tree. Steak raw is actually really good for you. Yeah, but what about like the back? Because like normally you can just like, as long as you cook the edges, like sear the edges, you know, the bacteria doesn't really reach the interior, so that's why you have like the medium rare steak. But like how would you just eat it raw and not have like some sort of, I don't know, potential reactant? Iodine is what made the difference to the brain development of early humans. Okay, interesting. Wonder what that did. I sound like the voice from 2001 Space Odyssey? I'm sorry, Paul. I can't let you do that. I remember like early in my like development of the channel and like the branding kind of concept, I remember thinking like I could be, or I could use like some sort of like avatar representation of that AI with like the red, you know, like the red light and stuff. The movie Quest for Fire is a good explanation of how cooking came about. Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting. "4-minute flip twice for them good grill marks, bud." Yeah. I used to work at a 7-Eleven that was right next to an art school campus. So in addition to all the snacks and drink, we had a little stationery section to keep some stuff by. I used to work at a 7-Eleven that was right next to an art school campus, so in addition to all the snacks and drink, we had a little stationery section and kept some stuff behind the counter too. One of the things we kept behind the counter were scissors, the kind that are sealed in a plastic casing, and one day, this customer comes in, walks up to the counter with a Gatorade, then asks if he can have a pair of scissors too. Of course, I grab a pair for him, scan them, then tell him the price of both of his items. But instead of getting his wallet out, he immediately starts removing the plastic packaging from the scissors. I didn't think it too suspicious at first. I mean, I figured he really needed them for some kind of minor emergency or something, and that he'd pay for them after cutting whatever it was that needed to be cut. Instead, once they're out of the packaging, he grips the handle like they're a knife or something, looks me right in the eye and says, "I could just kill you with these right now, you know that?" I was so stunned that I just didn't know what to say, and I know he enjoyed the fearful look on my face because of the way he started smiling. All I could do was reach for my phone in my pocket so I could start to dial 911, knowing I had no real way of defending myself and just hoping the cops would arrive before he actually killed me. But just as I tapped the numbers out, I looked up to see him walking away from the counter, laughing to himself as he walked out of the store. I stayed on the line with 911 for a while, shaking as I told him what had happened, and when the cops showed up a little while later, they took their time since it wasn't an ongoing situation. An officer reviewed the security camera footage. Turns out, the same guy had been doing the same... Whoops. Shroomies. Wait, is Hawk eating mushrooms out in the wilderness? Your voice puts me to sleep. Thank you. Welcome to Dreamland. You know what I am like? Oh, you know, it'd be kind of a cool thing. Who's the boat captain, or like the ship? What do they call it? Like the gondola? You know what I'm talking about? Like the skeleton man who takes people from like reality in the river Styx. What's his name? That's kind of like me, but for sleepy time. I will row you over into the nether. You have an iron deficiency, so having my meat more raw helps with that. It tastes good. Oh, interesting. That's pretty cool. A gondolier. Okay. I kind of want to see it. Gondolier River Styx. I've always thought the River Styx concept is rather interesting. Don't they mention this River Styx in the Bible at some point? There's a lot of like weird sort of like things in the Bible that you think that they would be original, or like it would be original with a lot of its spiritual concepts, are actually similar language to what you've heard in like Greek mythology and things like that. Charon. Oh, it's Charon. Okay. Charon. Wonder what his history was. Charon mythology. In Greek, Charon, or Karen, he's a Karen, is a psychopomp. The fairy, what's a psychopomp? Are creatures, spirits, angels, demons, or deities in many religions whose responsibility is to escort newly deceased souls from earth to the afterlife. Oh, interesting. Their role is not to judge the deceased, but simply to guide them, appearing frequently on... Oh. The ferryman of Hades, who carries souls of the newly deceased who had received their rites of burial across the river... Is it Acheron? In some later accounts across the river Styx, that divided the world in the living and the world of the dead. A coin to pay Carrion, or Charon. Is it Charon? Is for passage, usually in obelisk or Danaki, was sometimes placed in or on the mouth of a dead person. That would be so... Oh, dude, that would be so creepy. Like, you're walking up and you're talking and he's like, give me your coin. And he's like, well, where from? And he's like, check in your mouth. And you pull out a fucking coin. You're like, holy shit. Here you go, sir. Here you go, Karen. Some authors say that those who could not pay the fee, or those whose bodies are left unburied, had to wander the shores for 100 years until they were allowed to cross the river. Oh, man. That would be kind of an interesting origin story for, like, ghosts and stuff. They just, like, didn't have money. In the Catabasis mytheme, heroes such as all these random people journey to the underworld and return still alive, conveyed by the boat of Charon, and not to be mistaken with Chiron, a centaur who taught some of those heroes and has similar name. Oh, okay. Kiara McCourt with the 10 says, hey, Joel and Pradeep, Percival and I are glad to catch a live. Hope you're having a great day. Well, thank you, Kiara. Good to see you. I'm glad. I haven't heard the name Percival in a while, so I'm glad he's doing all right. Good to see you. Thank you for the 10. And Wednesday with the 2 says, Charon is the ferryman. He is a... Oh, a deity. Do you mean deity? You said duty. A deity you follow. What does that mean? A deity you follow? Like you... Is it something you research, or is it something like part of your spiritual practices or something like that? You learn that caveman plastered their dad's skulls. Plastered? How did they do that? Okay. Even though he took his time... Oh yeah, sorry, I'm like stuck. I forgot I still had to read. It's pronounced Heron? Oh, okay. Or you pronounce it Heron. Oh, okay, like without the C. Kind of like, you know, like there's Hanukkah and then there's Chanukah. Like the CH and the H. Wait, turns out the same guy had been doing the same thing all over town, picking up... Oh, I see. But as I tap the numbers out... Oh, I'm still fucking recording. Jesus Christ. Turns out, the same guy had been doing the same thing all over town, picking out girls working retail on their own before shoplifting basic items like that. He had the same MO every single time, too. He'd always get away with it by telling the girl that he could kill them with whatever he was stealing, be it a knife or scissors or even just a pen on one occasion. He'd never actually hurt anyone, not yet, according to the officer, but the cops were extra focused on getting him in cuffs before they felt like it was only a matter of time before he actually crossed that line and hurt someone. Even though he took his time to... God, I got like 900 Pradeep hairs just like in my nose for no fucking reason. I gotta look at my fucking microphone to see if there's just like cat hair floating around. Jesus Christ. Grandma, you going to bed? Nighty night. He never... Fuck. He never actually hurt anyone. Not yet, according to the officer. But the cops were extra focused on getting him in cuffs because they felt like it was only a matter of time before he actually crossed that line and did hurt someone. Even though he took his time to show up, the cop was still really helpful and reassuring, and he gave me his cell number to call him directly the next time he walked into the store. I mean, how much of a notorious kleptomaniac do you have to be to actually have a detective assigned to your case? And although I didn't hear about it afterward, I sincerely hope the guy never crossed that line and actually hurt a girl with any of the items he ended up stealing. Hi, Joel. What's up? Does Joel use a voice changer? Real voice is the Jelly Bean one? What's the Jelly Bean one? Jorah's more like Hypnos, god of sleep. Oh, that's a good one. It's a good I always think of it. I'm like, that's a good YouTube name. Hypnos. Oh, like hypnosis. Fucking wings on the head. Oh, that's a good idea. Hypnos. If I ever have to start again, that's what I'll call myself. Hypnos, the god of anime. I kind of like that, yeah, like the wings on their head. Interesting. 2 more missing cases. Okay. Have you seen Stranger Things? I saw season 1, and then I watched like 3 episodes of season 2, and I lost interest. So that was about my only experience with I was gonna say OnlyFans. No, Stranger Things. Sorry. I got bored of season 2 of OnlyFans. Have I ever fallen asleep listening to my own stories? You know, I haven't. I feel like maybe I should try it just to see what all the hubbub's about. I listen a lot to, what the hell's his name? I've said it before. The French Whisperer, ASMR. Joel. Okay, so that was story 4? Did I really read 3 of them? That one was about an earthquake, that was about coffee, this one was about a tongue, this one was about scissors, and story 5. What mic do I use? The one you're hearing right now in the streams is an AKG C214 connected to a UAC2 Zoom interface, but the one I record into is an H4n Pro. Yes, season 4, man. What's the one story you've narrated that you got the most? Oh, that got you the most, or got to you the most. I don't know anymore. Everything just blends together in my head. Joel needs to go blanky mode. No, I'm good. I'm Gucci. I think I need to be like jostled about. Just given a bit of a shake. Bro, I don't even... Sometimes I see shit typed in chat. I can't even fucking read it. I have no idea what it's even saying. I work night shifts at a 7-Eleven in a pretty good neighborhood here in Baton Rouge, so usually it's pretty boring. And whenever a customer does actually come in, they're usually really nice and polite. I know I totally lucked out with that little aspect of it, as I've heard some real horror stories of people who work in retail. But then this one night, I had a customer visit the store that put the fear of God into me. Literally, too. I was just minding my own business, playing with my phone behind the register when this sweet-looking little old man came in. He was short, even shorter than me, so maybe 5'2" at the most, and he was dressed in neatly pressed khakis and a button-down shirt, almost like he could have just walked out of a church on a Sunday morning or something. When he brought his items up to the register, I made the usual small talk of asking him how his night was going. The Yakuza one? Oh yeah, that one was pretty fucked up. When he brought his items up to the register, I made the usual small talk of asking him how his night was going, something I always did to help kill a few minutes of what were always long and boring shifts. He didn't answer my questions, though, and when I looked up at him, he had this intense, almost angry look on his face, like I'd said something that had really offended him. I didn't ask anything, but, so, what has he had such an... I didn't ask anything other than, so what has he out at such an ungodly hour? And looking back, I think it was the mention of God that got him riled up, because the next thing I know, as I was handing him his change, he firmly grabbed my wrist, made direct eye contact with me and said, "Hell is a real place, and the devil's already got his hand on you, girl." I was so scared that I opened my hand up and the change just rattled onto the countertop as he stared into my eyes. Then, with this thunderous look on his face, he swiped his change off the counter, then just walked out of the store. I've never been shaken up by a customer like that before. I don't know if it was how deceiving his appearance was, how late at night and vulnerable I was, or if it was the fact that everyone was always nice, even in a job where it's so common for people to be just total jerks. I think maybe it was a combination of all three. Just this perfect storm of surprise and fear that actually left me standing there, shaking in the quiet of the store. I've never had a customer like that since, but I find I always have my guard up now whenever I'm working late like that, because the one thing it taught me is that you definitely can't judge a book by its cover. The devil's got his hand on you. Sorry, I just gotta respond to a message. Oh. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Goddamn, D-Shore with a 34.65. A very twerkable amount. Thank you so much, D-Shore. Thank you. Appreciate ya. And Ash with the 3 buckaroonies. Fist bump. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate ya. Joel, you do any push-ups today? Not yet. We, definitely got to get that. I got to hit my 50 at some point. Throwing that thing back. D-Shore tossing that money around. Yeah, she is. Making it rain. Art is making me anxious, so I'm gonna game a bit. Bye, everyone. Why was art making you anxious? You ever gotten 69.69? I feel like I did at one point, actually. I forget exactly who it was, but I feel like I do recall somebody donating like exactly 69.69. Having a poopy day, so happy for the light. Well, welcome, Carla. No worries. We will take that poop and burn it for fuel. $50 twerks per second. Just like fucking reflecting bullets and lies. You Your voice puts me to sleep every night. Is that weird? You know, I don't think so. I think you'd fit in just fine here. Wait, did I read the last... I feel like I didn't read the last sentence. I've never had a customer like that since. But I find I always have my guard up now whenever I'm working late like that. Because the one thing it taught me is that you definitely can't judge a book by its cover. His voice is like a warm stick of butter melting over a tall stack of pancakes dripped with fresh homemade maple syrup placed directly in a sock. Is it a used sock or a new sock? Is it a tube sock or dress sock? This is what Dr. Seuss would ask. I've been on fire tonight. Yeah, I think like the shorter stories kind of help me. There is a time when I'm like reading and I'm on like a long roll where I kind of like think about it, and then just thinking about it like kind of screws me up. Syrup slowly slides over my tummy while Joel looks into the camera and Oh, deleted before I could finish it. People be typing, you guys be typing some wild shit. How do you submit stories? Yes, go to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial to submit a story, or you can submit it to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Any option is pretty baller to me. His voice is like the fart a grizzly releases after 3 months of hibernation. Oh yeah, I'd like to hear that, honestly. God, I saw a video earlier. It was on Reddit, and it was like a guy filming a grizzly bear that was standing sort of on the other side of a river, but like trying to climb this like incline. And it seemed like it was like in this weird sort of mixture where it was like trying to climb the incline, was like frustrated while climbing it, but you could tell it was like smelling the air, you know? It was like smelling the air and